was the one place I'd always in my life wanted to go. And it was even more than just a pilgrimage. It was the Bible come to life, but it was a way of connecting to a part of the world where everything changes. I mean, it really is. Israel and this part of the world is the epicenter of some of the greatest moments in human history.
Hey folks, I'm not afraid to say it. I love Israel. I love Israel. And as you all know, I was on the Israeli trip with Tom Homan this past year. And I'm so excited because I'm actually going to be doing my own trip to Israel. And Tom is actually going to join me on that trip as well. And it is Defend the Border and Save Lives. It's where we take a group of people, and it is limited space, but it's so exciting. We take a group of people with us. We do a tour in Israel, not only of the border with Israeli Defense Forces. We build strong relationship with leaders in Israel and have very special surprise visits with others and, one-on-one conversations. But we also visit beautiful places, the Holy Land, and take an incredibly moving, spiritually uplifting tour into the Judeo-Christian biblical sites in Jerusalem, Galilee, the River Jordan, Masada, the Dead Sea. That's just to name a few. So this is an incredible trip, an incredible journey that I want you all to be a part of. So guess what I did? So today I'm bringing on Ronnie Wexler. He is the host of these beautiful excursions and is able to make this happen for me and for those of you who want to be a part of that trip. He's the center of it all. He makes it happen. He organizes and helps with these trips. And believe me, it will stay with you for the rest of your life. It's a memory that you will always have. And I want to share that with you right now so that you can get an idea of what this means so that you can join me next year. Yes, next year in Israel. And I think it'll be just an incredible trip. Tom's going to be joining me as well next year. Tom Homan will be back on the trip, and we have so many other people. First, though, Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold, thank you so much for being a sponsor of the Sarah Carter Show. And you make this possible so I can bring all these amazing guests to every one of you out there. Gold and silver allow you to protect what you've worked so hard for, right? I say this all the time. And I tell you that in order to protect what you've worked so hard for, you need to diversify. Yes, diversify. And you can do that with gold and silver, and you can do that through Allegiance Gold. And right now, Allegiance Gold is offering $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sarah sent you. My friends at Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA, your 401k with physical gold and silver, or have it delivered securely right to your front door. They'll educate you on the benefits of physical gold because they care and they want to build that long-term relationship with you. So get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sarah sent you. Look, don't just trust me. Do the research yourself. Find out how important it is to protect your assets, and you can do that with Allegiance Gold. So don't wait. Call or click today, 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARAH, S-A-R-A, no H. Or go to protectwithsarah.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks. We know that, but we can prepare. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARAH, S-A-R-A, or protectwithsarah.com.
I'm so happy to have Ronnie Wexler. I told you earlier, he's president of Heritage Study Programs, president of the 10 Commandments Day Commission, an IDF, that's an Israeli Defense Forces veteran, and a very good friend. Thank you for being on the podcast, Ronnie.
Hi, Shalom. How are you?
Shalom, shalom. I learned so much going to Israel with you. I'm doing great. And I'm so excited about our upcoming trip next year that I will be hosting this time. So Tom Homan, for all of you out there who didn't know, hosted a trip to Israel this past year, which I attended. I was one of the main people with Tom Trento, as well as Victor Avila, who's now running for Congress here in the beautiful state of Texas, the very hot state of Texas. But we all went to Israel together, and we had two groups, a large group of people that came with us to learn about mainly defending the border. We were sharing information. We were out there with Israeli Defense Forces and met with various Israeli leaders and and activists. And we also got to visit all these amazing, beautiful sites, all the Holy Land sites. We went to the Dead Sea, to the Jordan River, Masada. It was really, Ronnie, an incredible journey, and one that, I mean, it was so impressionable in my spirit, in my heart, that I felt so connected to Israel in such a way that I felt compelled to want to host my own trip there in 2024. So thank you for letting me do that.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure talking to you and seeing you on the screen now. I can't help it but remembering that I don't know when people are watching this program now, but right now it's Friday night in Israel. And last time we were on Friday night in Israel, we went to Jerusalem, to the site of the Western Wall. And we were a part of the celebrations there of all the Jews and Christians that were dancing and praising the Lord, receiving the Sabbath. That left a great impression on me. And something else, you, I, and several other people from Tel Aviv, the week before, we went on a walk along the beach, and we went to old city of Jaffa. And you shared with
That's
me
right.
your family, and I shared with you stories about my family, my service in the army, your husband's service in the army. And we bonded, I think, right there on that walk. You and I bonded, and then we had lunch in the ports of Jaffa. And it was fabulous. So, yeah, it was great. And I think the combination of going to Israel to learn about security and defense, and seeing how borders are being protected in Israel, and then see all the historical sites and biblical sites, kind of let the Bible be your guide, if you may, in different places. This combination is priceless, and I know that everybody that went with us from Tom Homan, who's coming again with you, by the way, and is bringing his wife.
Yes, he is.
To everybody that came there that I hardly remember who they were, because we're so busy with getting information back and forth and seeing places. Everybody, however, told me that the effect of the trip, what they gained out of it, was absolutely something that they couldn't have learned or gained in any other circumstance or classroom or podcast. Being there is the real thing, you know.
It really is.
From going to the different borders to let the Bible, as I said, come alive and be your guide. It is something incredible, and I do it almost 20 times a year, and it never gets old. It never gets old, because you see what it leaves people with.
Right. I felt such a connection to Israel. My spirit. I had told you that in Jaffa, that was the one place in the Middle East where I never had the opportunity to travel, and it was the one place I'd always in my life wanted to go. And it was not. It was even more than just a pilgrimage. It was the Bible come to life, but it was a way of connecting to a part of the world where everything changes. I mean, it really is. Israel and this part of the world is the epicenter of some of the greatest moments in human history. And when I was in Jaffa with you and we were sitting there looking at the water, and I was thinking about, the old stories of Jonah and the whale, and it was Jaffa, 6,000-year-old city, that just was right there. I could touch it. I could feel it. I could smell it. I could hear the people laughing and talking and thinking about that. Even years ago, we talked about this, Ronnie, where, especially when tensions were really heightened in Israel, and there was so much sadness and fighting and, the terror attacks on Israel. I mean, people used to not be able to go to Jaffa. It used to be a no-go zone. And now you could sit in Jaffa at a restaurant. We were at an Arab restaurant, I believe we were. you and I sitting in Jaffa, just enjoying, the hummus. Although I only laugh about the hummus because I love hummus, and I know you do too, Ronnie. It was not Tom's favorite thing, the hummus, but he loved the hamburgers in Jerusalem. I'm just going to throw that out there. But I loved being there, and that whole experience, us becoming such close friends, being able to, see through the eyes of, I think, centuries, right? Of our forefathers and the civilizations that existed. It was unbelievable to me. It was an experience that every human being should, if they're blessed enough, should have. I really believe that.
No, I could not agree more. I think seeing your group and other groups that I have taken to Israel in the past, people really don't understand or don't know that the biblical places, that the Bible mention are still there by names. So you go to Nazareth, you go to Jerusalem, you go to Bethlehem. Those are cities. Now, naturally, they're different today. Nazareth is a big city rather than a small little town. Bethlehem is a big city. Jerusalem is a big city. Jaffa is different. But the terrain is the same. So if I tell you that I'm taking you to the Mount of Beatitudes, it is there. And when we stand there and we're looking at the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, and we remember the Beatitudes and we talk about them, it brings the Bible alive. Then just few kilometers away is the border with Lebanon, which is one of the reasons why we went to see how Israel protects the holy places and civil life in Israel. It's only a few miles away from a biblical place that was once attacked by enemies of Israel. I think this combination is creating a story, and that story must be told on location. And I don't know if you mentioned it already, but we're going to Israel in June 23rd of 2024, and we're going to spend 2 weeks, and we're going to cover everything from Tel Aviv, the Mediterranean coastline, the city of Haifa, to Upper Galilee, to the border with Lebanon, to the Golan Heights, to biblical places around the Sea of Galilee, which is the entire ministry of Jesus Christ in the 3 years that we know about from the Bible. And then we go to Jerusalem, right, through Jericho, the oldest city in the world, and the Dead Sea, and climbing up to Jerusalem, going to the Mount of Olives, and see the entire city below us, and try to understand what's going on. And yet we don't forget why we went there. So we look at the separation wall that creates security for the people of Jerusalem, right, and Israel. All this is an incredible story that must be told on location.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I was thinking about this. I was watching that TV series, The Chosen, because it's part of the, the Angel, the new, I think quite fascinating idea, that a network, how they created these shows through donations, through money from the people. People said, I want to see something different. I don't want to watch these shows anymore. I want something more family friendly. But this was the story of Jesus, right? I mean, The Chosen is based on 3 seasons on the story of Jesus Christ and his sermon. But I was thinking about it when I was watching it the other day, and he was doing the Sermon on the Mount, and they were called, they said, Rabbi, this is going to be the biggest sermon that you've ever done. It's going to go against everything that all the other rabbis, had done previously. I mean, this was it, and I was thinking we were right there. We were right where he made that sermon that, by the way, caused all the trouble for him. And he knew it would, He was changing things up a little bit and running against the grain of what was the normal teachings of the law. And I was thinking to myself, we were right where, And I remember Tom was up there, Tom Trento, and he was, talking to us, and it was really a powerful little speech that he gave there. But we were looking over at the Sea of Galilee, and I thought to myself, right here is where really everything changed. There was a huge shift in philosophy and the way human beings thought about themselves and their relationship with God. And I mean, regardless of what religion or where you're from, we're open to everybody on this trip. But that was a fact, and that was a historical fact of what happened there. And it changed everything. And I'm telling you guys, for those of you out there that are listening to Ronnie and I right now, I mean, you may be sitting in your kitchen, you may be, working on your car or taking your kids to school or just relaxing for the night with a glass of wine and wanting to listen to a podcast. But there is nothing in your life more powerful than what Ronnie is saying, than actually just being there and feeling it and living it and knowing that it's something so spectacular. I can't even put it into words. And I don't know if it was just me, but I talked to other people who were on the trip, like Maria and Karen. I'm still friends with we're still causing trouble, Maria and Karen. And I and Michelle, of course. I love Michelle and, all the gals that were on the trip. But it was a really beautiful experience, not only personally, but also building those friendships that I think are lasting a lifetime. You and I, Tom, Maria, Karen, Michelle. I mean, I can add more people onto there. And we still have like that WhatsApp going where we're all still sharing information, or our home in Israel trip signal where we're sharing information. So, I mean, do you think that changes us? Like, I mean, you take a trip with strangers, and so I know some people think like, oh, I don't want to go on a tour, but this wasn't really a tour. This was so much more. It was a way to see the world through the eyes of experts, but also, like you said, it had a dual purpose. It was about building our relationship with our Israeli partners and seeing border security through their eyes. And then at the same time, woven through all of that was this miraculous tour of the Holy Land. It was incredible.
You're absolutely correct. And, in my experience, that every time we bring strangers that feel kind of strange to go on a tour with people they don't know, by the time we end the tour, it's one big family, and it's hard to say goodbye. We don't want it to finish. And it happened also with our group. I remember the last night, nobody went to sleep. They just wanted to prolong the saying goodbye. Nobody wanted to leave. And obviously today we're still in touch.
Yeah, and you were trying to kick us out of the restaurant. You're like, guys, these people want to close up.
Right.
We have to wrap up the trip. No, we all just wanted to hang out and take pictures. And I think that's what's so nice is that this affords anybody the opportunity to really get to know. You'll get to know Tom Homan. You'll get a chance to hang out with me, to hang out with, Ronnie, to meet officials from the Israeli Defense Forces, to, oh gosh, let's not talk about the tunneling systems. I mean, we were on the border with Lebanon. And it was incredible. I mean, we went into these Hamas tunnels as well that went 45 meters down into the earth. And, you could see, how the Israel and its sovereignty and its security is so important to every aspect of its life. And especially all the young people in the military that are serving, right? I mean, I felt like some of them were babies or supermodels. I don't know what it is about the Israeli. Like, do you guys have qualifications for like joining the IDF? Because I'm not joking, guys out there listening to me right now. The men and the women are beautiful in the IDF. It's like they came out of like some kind of supermodel like event. And I'm just like, wow, okay, hi. Thank you for guarding me. It's almost embarrassing.
Well, it's the land of milk and honey, and people are going to be beautiful human beings, and they all serve in the army.
I guess maybe
because they want to serve in the army. Sure, It's mandatory, but everybody is looking forward to serve in the army. The army in Israel is like in the United States going to college. You go straight from high school to the army, and only then you continue your studies. So by the time you're 21, maybe that's the first time you go to college. It's different.
I think that's great.
It's different.
No, I think that's actually great, because everybody in Israel, Israeli citizens, have a vested interest in protecting their country. And the youth understand that because they're on the front lines. And one of the places where when we went to go see the tunnels, and I think it was such a moving part of our trip. In fact, it was so moving that I think for a lot of us, when we heard the stories, there was just silence on the bus, when Shimon was going over what happened. And you were all talking about the 3 Israeli soldiers that years ago had been taken, and they were kidnapped and taken across the border. And Israel did everything they could to find them. This was before the tunnels were discovered, the 6 tunnels. And they were killed. And there was this sense of that disheartening feeling, that feeling of loss. Like, we connected with you, and we connected with Israel because we understand how important it is to defend our nation. And more than that, those that are serving our country, right, Ronnie? I think that's it. That kind of respect that you have for those that are willing to put everything on the line. And by the way, the Israeli youth that are, I say, even though it's mandatory, you could see that they want to be there, that they are proud. Every single one that I spoke to was proud to be a part of the Israeli Defense Forces. And I met one guy who was a doctor, and he was coming back, and he continuously serves. And so what do you think that is? Explain to people that kind of feeling for the Jewish nation, what it meant to establish Israel and what that means to the people of Israel, to their sovereign, to hold on to that sovereignty, to insist on the protection of their people from enemies on the outside.
Well,
because I think Americans are starting to feel that.
People in Israel feel responsible for each other. People in Israel feel that all the soldiers are our children. When a soldier comes to town, whether you know him or not, you invite him home, you feed him. People still hitchhike in Israel. Soldiers are standing on the side of the road, and somebody would stop. Where do you go? Let me take you. So the sense of responsibility to our soldiers and soldiers to the country is second to none. I want you to know that the feel in Israel is we have only one country, and it's Israel. We don't have another country. We don't have another choice. This is it. This is our country. God gave us this country, according to the Bible, many, 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 many years ago. Now, through the history of the world, there were some nations that fought Israel, and the Jews were dispersed around the world. But now, Israel is a sovereign country, and it has its own army, and it's third strongest, I think, in the world, not because we are a mighty nation, is because God promised it to be a strong nation. God, according to Genesis 12, said, I will curse those who curse you, to Israel. He said to Abraham, I will curse those who curse you, Israel. I will bless those who bless you. And he continued and he said, and to you, to Israel, I will bless all the nations of the world. And today, Israel is a startup nation, which the first industry, the largest, the most beautiful industry of Israel is high tech. And Israel is providing ingenuity in high tech to America, to some of the biggest companies in America, and throughout the world, from agriculture to medicine to space. So Israel is a blessed country, and it's blessing the world. Israel is first in line to go to places that have disasters, such as Turkey and Peru, when some mines collapsed and people got stuck. Israel is always first to send field hospitals to places that need help. Israel offered Iran to send a field hospital when they had the problems in the northern part of Iran. It's Iran, the stupid country, that didn't want to take the help. But Israel is ready to go anywhere, regardless over any disputes. Israel is ready to go to help. And a soldier in Israel, and I'm a soldier of Israel, I fought in 2 big wars in Israel.
And we even stood on that plane where you fought. And I remember that was a very emotional moment for you, to remember like what that was like. I mean, I know from my husband being a soldier and a veteran, and what it's like to lose the people that you love in battle and to defend your nation. And I stood there with you and with everyone and thinking to myself, this isn't just about, the tanks. And of course, everybody goes there and wants to take their picture with a tank. I don't know. It's but it's not about that. It was about honoring those that lost their lives, whose blood was shed on that land. To that very moment, their spirit, in my opinion, is still there. A part of them is still there. Right?
Absolutely.
And that was an emotional moment for me too.
Absolutely. Unlike any other country that fought in different lands, such as the United States of America, thank God, we didn't have a war in the United States. But in Israel, our back is to the wall. If we are not there fighting the enemy, they would be killing our parents and children. Tel Aviv is only 9 miles away from the West Bank. So in these 9 miles, you have to stop an enemy and conquer and make sure that it's no longer a threat. And that's the difference between Israel and maybe some other countries. Now, when we went to Israel, we wanted to understand also and try to figure out what works for Israel probably could work for the United States of America, and that was the border issue. So when we went to the...
Right. Talk about that.
Okay.
Talk about that. I mean, your technology was amazing.
So at one time, Israel suffered from the same issues that the United States of America is suffering today. Illegal immigration, not from South America, but from Africa. We had a lot of people that were actually walking through Egypt to Sinai to Israel, and it was very hard to stop them. And those people who came to Israel created hardship in areas that after a while became like slums, because of their way of life. Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, 10 years ago, decided to close entirely the border with Egypt, which is the main problem with illegal immigration. So you and I and the group actually went there. Remember when we went to Gaza the same day?
Absolutely.
And we saw a border, a wall, and a fence with all the gadgets that Israel knows how to apply to a border fence, and immigration to Israel, illegal immigration to Israel, came to zero.
Simple.
There's no illegal immigration crossing the Sinai Desert, which was the problem. And the only people who can cross that border to Israel, as you and I saw when we went to the border crossing, where even trucks moved back and forth, everybody knows who comes in, who comes out, and no truck and no vehicle goes without complete checking, knowing exactly who there is, who's driving it, and what's on board.
I want you all to wait. I want people to really take this in. We're the United States of America. We have a wide open, nearly 2,000-mile border with Mexico, where the cartels are are heightening their battles against each other, where fentanyl is pouring across into our country. I can't even begin to tell you by the billions of dollars. We lost over 130,000 people, we believe. And that's just a lowball estimate on people being killed by fentanyl. We have captured and intercepted more than or roughly around 200 or so terrorists connected to terrorism, people at the border. That does not include all of those that escaped, the gotaways, the more than 1 million gotaways, right? 1.5 million gotaways. And we have nearly 5 million illegal entries into the United States, we will believe, or more than 5 million by the end of the Biden presidency, if it even ends. So that's the United States of America. Israel has zero now.
Right.
Zero through the Sinai with. So do you think it's because our government doesn't want to? Because you're an American too. Do you think our government does not want to protect its border? I mean, I don't have any other explanation.
Well, I believe this administration does it because they want to have an open border situation here. They can close the border anytime. President Trump was about to do what Israel done. You see, when we come to Israel, we come with the question, do walls and borders help? Do walls really stop illegal immigration? We can attest to it. Yes, it does. You know, we don't have illegal immigration. And you and I saw 3 crossing points. One in Sinai, right. One near Bethlehem, and one at the West Bank, where we saw the trucks coming back and forth, and every truck is being stopped. You know, that's a country that values their sovereignty and makes sure that we protect the people, and no one can take us lightly. We make sure that security and defense of the people of Israel is the number one issue, and everybody understands it. Nobody messes with Israel anymore. You know, if they want to mess with Israel, there's war. And according to the last 75 years, every war that was waged on Israel was ended up with a win for Israel and a disaster to the Israeli, people who came to attack Israel. So that's what we do, you know, and that's what we learned in this trip that we took.
I love you, Mike Lindell. Happy 20th anniversary sale, my friend. And I'm so happy that you've given a special offer to all Sarah Carter listeners. And this is what it is. We got queen size My Pillows, regular price $69.98. Guess what? You're going to get them now for $19.98 and just $10 more for king size. You just can't beat that. At mypillow.com/Carter, promo code Carter, CARTER, or you can call 1-800-685-7221. Go to mypillow.com/Carter and use promo code Carter to get the queen size My Pillow for only $19.98 during Mike's My Pillow 20th anniversary sale, or call 1-800-685-7221. There you'll find not only this amazing offer, but also deep discounts on all My Pillow products, including the My Pillow slippers, pet beds, blankets, and more. Get the best night's sleep on mypillow.com/Carter and use promo code Carter, CARTER, or call 1-800-685-7221, mypillow.com/Carter, promo code Carter.
Because I want people to understand the real Israel, the real Israeli government, the people of Israel, and their kindness and their openness, as much as they are securing Israel. Believe me, the Israeli people and the Israeli government never forget those that actually helped protect the Jewish people at the worst time in history, right? And Shimon had told this amazing story about a survivor that had explained to the Israeli Defense Forces when they had questioned them, well, how did you survive the Holocaust? And, you know, how did you get here? And they said, well, it was a Muslim family, actually. And I believe it was in Yugoslavia, am I right?
Yes.
Or in Bosnia. And I remember, if I remember the story correctly, in that this family took us in and hid us. And they hid them, and they saved this family. Do you know the Israeli government, and you maybe be able to explain it better because Shimon told us this story when we were at the Holocaust Museum, but they put a tree there for the family, right, as well, to honor the family, just like they did for Schindler, which was such an amazing experience, and all the other families that rescued Jewish families during the worst, one of the worst, if not the worst time in human history. But they went back. The IDF went back and rescued them. And it was a time during war. Once they figured out who the family was, they dropped into a war zone to give this family the option to come to Israel. And this Muslim family, instead of taking money, instead of staying there, they chose to be citizens of Israel and they left Yugoslavia, right?
Yes.
It was incredible.
Well,
I think
the notion in Israel, you don't leave people behind. That's also in the army. If we have people that are left behind, wounded or dead, we will risk our own lives to save them. The same thing goes to our friends. And the story that you were just telling was told to us at Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. And in Yad Vashem, every tree, if you recall, if you remember, was planted there for one of the righteous people that helped saving Jews during the Holocaust. The best known is Schindler, for instance. Everybody knows it because a movie was made. But he was not the only one. Unfortunately, there weren't too many, but there were quite a few, and every tree there bears a name. So when you had a family, Muslim or no Muslim, that helped save a Jew, and they need help, we'll risk our own lives to go and save them. Same thing happens now also, with Lebanon, the army of southern Lebanon in the last 20 years was helpful to Israel. We made sure that we took as many of them and made them citizens of Israel when we left Lebanon. So there's a whole community of Lebanese in Israel, now children of the fighters of the Phalanges, that are now living in Israel, and they're full citizens of Israel. Now, I'm sure they miss Lebanon, it's their country, but they live like you and me, complete security, and with all the benefits of Israel. Many of them are serving in the Israeli army. So we know how to respect and how to love those who love us, and certainly will help those who help us.
And that's such a lesson to learn, because not only do you care, and I think we're going to learn a lot more as the years go on, and especially this last year. I think President Biden and his administration can learn a lot from Israel. I'm sorry to throw that in there, but I think about not abandoning your allies and your friends is something that is imperative, not only as a human being and personal relationships, but as a nation state. And I wanted to tell that story because I want you all to know these are things that even me, who I've traveled the whole Middle East, I think I'm very learned and I meet people from all over the world. These are stories that I learned by going on this journey, with Ronnie. And I learned by being a part of this amazing tour in Israel. And that's why I really wanted to do this special podcast, because I wanted you to meet Ronnie through this podcast. I'm so excited for all of you to hear what he has to say. He and I have become such close friends, and I would love to have you on this trip with me and this trip with Ronnie and Tom Homan. And I'm sure we're going to have other special guests that'll surprise you on this journey with me next year in Israel. But I want to give you the information on where you can sign up if you want to be a part of this and register early, because we do only have a certain amount of spots and they do go quick. That's what happened with Tom's trip and with other trips that have taken place going to Israel. This is a way to build not only friendships that'll last a lifetime. I've just proven that to you by bringing Ronnie on and talking about all the friends I've made, which is very exciting. But this is about going to this beautiful nation and learning so much more, not just visiting the Holy Land, taking those Holy Land tours, the birthplace of Christianity, Judeo-Christian sites that we will be seeing, going to Galilee, to the River Jordan, to Masada, to the Dead Sea. I mean, Gideon's Horn, I mean, we were all over Israel and talking and learning so much. But I want you to call 267-585-5100, or I want you to go to SaraCarterIsrael.com. That's SaraCarterIsrael.com. And it's very simple. All the information will be there. I'm going to give you the number again in case you just want the number. Most of you can do it through the webpage, but it's 267-585-5100. And there's a tour ID number. You'll find that on the website. I'll give it to you here, but it's 2378-577. That's 2378-577. And the telephone number again is 267-585-5100. Or just simply go to SaraCarterIsrael.com and you'll be able to register early. When you go there, you'll see our gallery. It'll show you, some of the past photos or the photos of this last trip, which are so much fun to look at now from our Mission 2023. You'll see the bios. You'll see who will be on the trip and our itinerary. I guarantee you will not regret it. You're going to love this journey. And Ronnie and I will be there to guide you. I feel so excited. I feel like I'm old hat now. I know exactly where we're going. Before it was always a surprise to me. Now I can say, okay, I know where we're going. I know what to expect. So thank you, Ronnie. Any final words for everyone out there?
Well, I'd like to see as many of our friends come to Israel to learn, to study, and to appreciate what they see. When they come back, they have good answers, not only for themselves, but for other people that want to know how to vote, how to create a better solutions to problems. Israel is a learning experience, and I would like to see as many people come, and I would say shalom and see you real soon.
Yes, shalom. And by the way, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but we learned some really amazing songs. And you know what, Ronnie, it's still in my head.
I'm glad to hear that.
I haven't gotten it out. I'm singing it right now in my brain. I'm just not going to do it for our audience. I want them to come. I want them to show up for the trip. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you. Same here. God bless you.
God bless you too, my friend. Can't wait to see you.
It was great having Ronnie on. I welcome you back, Ronnie. It's so great to have you on the show and to have you be a part of my life. And I can't wait for my husband and I and my family to be with you in Israel next year. And I can't wait for all of you to join me in Israel next year. Be a part of this great trip. You're going to love it. Trust me, it is not only going to touch you spiritually, but you are going to learn so much about Israel, about our nation, about protecting our borders. And that's what we need. We need boots on the ground. We need grassroots efforts, people that are willing to speak up for their communities, to defend their communities, and to tell our lawmakers, look, if you don't fix this, we will. If you love today's show and you want even more of the Sara Carter Show, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars and subscribe on your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. Just go ahead, download the podcast and give us 5 stars. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official and on Twitter at Sara Carter DC and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless the nation of Israel, and God bless the great state of Texas.